So signing day wrapped up yesterday, and fans are admittedly frustrated with the results. We're going to talk about it and what it means for the Gators going forward. Okay, so before I get into it, this is what I want to tell you guys. I get it. I totally understand. You are frustrated. I'm frustrated. It's frustrating to watch the number 3 class in the country drop to the number 16 class in the country. It's frustrating to watch people flip on signing day or waver in their commitments or, some of the things we saw. It's frustrating to not have a rabbit pulled out of the hat. I totally get it. I understand. I know we brought in Coach Napier because we were told that he is an incredible recruiter and that was the missing piece for Florida. We had the game day coaching aspect. We were lacking on the dog recruiting. And we were told that's what we were getting. And now, you look at what Florida has been the last couple of seasons on the field. We haven't improved on the field from the previous coaching staff, but we also really haven't recruited a whole lot better. We thought we had when we were sitting with the number 3 class in the country. We thought we had. We think these guys will all qualify and show up on campus. So, that's a win as well. But I get why you are frustrated, and I think you have every right to be. But I also don't think it's fair to the kids that signed yesterday to not celebrate the fact that they're going to be Gators and to not get excited about the good pieces of the puzzle that we do have coming to campus. It's worth celebrating. So I get it. You're over positivity. You don't care to tune in for a positive video or whatever. But listen, bear with me. Let's celebrate the kids that want to represent the logo on the front of the jersey. They are worth getting excited about. Coach Napier held onto the 2 mantelpieces of his 2024 signing class, and that would be quarterback DJ Lagway and LJ McCrae, which holding on to those guys is a huge win for the Florida Gators. If you would have asked Coach Napier, or honestly, any of you guys that follow recruiting closely, what the main objective of early signing day should be, it would be getting ink to paper for those 2 guys. So from that end, yesterday was a huge success for the Gators. Even with the last minute rumors about Southern Cal and Texas A&M throwing everything but the kitchen sink at DJ Lagway, his commitment to UF never wavered. And it was kind of interesting to watch yesterday because, USC's recruiting sites are talking about how they're still in it. Texas A&M talking about how they're still in it. Clemson. My sources at Florida were not concerned in the least about DJ Lagway. They knew he wanted to be a Gator. He'd made that clear from the very beginning. They had no fears that he would be a Gator by the end of yesterday, and they ended up being correct. He is the kind of player you build a program around. He put up arguably the most impressive numbers of any high school quarterback in the country, playing big high school football in Texas, by the way. And he fits Billy Napier's system to a T. I've said on this channel a couple of times that I really thought that DJ Lagway was sort of the canary in the coal mine for Coach Napier. So the fact that he signed and will reportedly be on campus starting in January is a solid sign for the future. Now, let's talk a little bit about LJ McCrae. Things were not as stable with him. The morning of signing day, he indicated that he might not sign at all. And the Gator coaching staff had to work really hard to seal the deal again yesterday with LJ McCrae. By the afternoon, his national letter of intent was signed and submitted to the university. So done deal. LJ McCrae will be a Gator, even though there was a little bit of drama during the day yesterday. But signing those 2 guys that are top 6 at their position in this 2024 class is huge. And Billy Napier and company deserve a round of applause for that. Now, unfortunately, Coach Napier lost too many guys in this class. We had decommitment starting prior to signing day, weeks ago. We lost guys like Jamonta Waller to Auburn. Last week, we lost Xavier Filsaime to Texas. But the pain did continue yesterday when Amaris Williams made it official that he was flipping to Auburn. Now, this is something that has been rumored for weeks. And so I don't think it's something that caught the coaching staff off guard at all. He himself even hinted at it the last couple of weeks as well. So while it's disappointing to watch it happen, watch it scroll across the ticker at ESPN, this isn't something that caught Florida's coaching staff off guard. They knew that it was coming. I do think that a lot were caught off guard by Isaiah Williams out of Tampa flipping to Texas A&M. And that did kind of put a damper on the day. This is not something that we saw coming. He has Steve Harris, who is our former national champion, on his coaching staff at his high school. We've heard that Williams was solid for months. So this, I think, was a little bit surprising to all of us that he flipped to Texas A&M. We saw it develop kind of across the course of the day. And then, of course, he made it official in the afternoon. So why did we see so many flips this cycle? Well, on the field play matters. Maybe not for the playoffs, but it matters for recruiting. It is incredibly difficult to out-recruit your record. Coach Napier's strategy this year seemed to be get a bunch of commitments early and then play defense, so to speak, instead of offense during and after the season. I still think that was the right strategy, particularly given how Florida ended up at 5-7. It is easier to hang on to guys that are already committed to you and are already kind of in the fold than to convince guys that they need to commit to you for the first time when you're sitting at 5-7. We always knew that we were probably going to lose some of these guys. Now, I have seen a lot of you comment about Auburn and Texas A&M and their records not being very different from Florida, but having the ability to flip guys and sign great classes. I think that there is a difference between Florida and where Auburn's sitting and where Texas A&M is sitting right now. If you can't sell wins, which none of those three programs can sell wins at the moment, you have to be able to sell hope. It's a lot easier to sell hope as, let's say, the first-year coach at Texas A&M, where you know you're getting at least 3 or 4 years because this is going to be your first season, or a program like Auburn where their coach is coming off his first season there. The rope is longer. You have more time on the clock. That's just the reality. The reality is Billy Napier's seat is warm, maybe even hot. And that is something that will affect recruiting. Imagine being an opposing coach. You call up a recruit and you say, yeah, well, you fit into Napier's system, but if Napier's not going to be there after next year, will you fit into the new guy? I don't know. Negative recruiting works, guys. And I do think that that's something that got into some of our guys' ear. But we still signed what is sitting at the moment, the number 16 team in the country. I don't think that that's awful. I think Florida needs to improve, but I don't think the sky is falling like some people think. I do think NIL played a role in how this class played out. Not as much probably as people think. UF has money. They aren't necessarily willing to spend like drunken sailors like Auburn, but I don't believe we lost anybody over strictly an NIL deal. So do with that what you will. UF officially signed Joey Slackman, defensive lineman, Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon, he's an offensive lineman, and DB Trickweezy Bridges out of the portal. Those guys put inked paper yesterday. They are great additions that can and honestly should contribute immediately. UF needs to turn all of its attention right this moment to the transfer portal. They don't have the luxury of time for developing these guys that are signed in the 2024 class in the years to come. The Gators have got to win now. If Coach Napier doesn't figure out a way to stack some wins in 2024, the class that he just signed won't matter. Okay? Hopefully, Florida signing a smaller high school class indicates that they will pick up a considerable amount of guys from the transfer portal. They have to win immediately. I think that it's interesting that Florida has such a small class because they could have signed a bunch more guys, let's say 3-star guys, right? Filled the class and finished in the top 10. But if those are guys that are going to take a couple of years to develop, they aren't going to be able to help Florida win immediately. And it doesn't help Billy Napier keep his job at the University of Florida. So I don't know about you, but I think I'd prefer what we're doing right now, the smaller high school class, and really, really, really go after the transfer portal like your life depends on it, because honestly, his job does, right? It doesn't make me feel any better to sign the number 9 class in the country, but know that it's 9 because it's huge and because we signed a lot of guys that are going to take real time to develop. I would rather sign a smaller class that we really think can have an impact in the next year or two, and then fill the class up with transfer portal guys who will come in and contribute day one next year. There were some coaching shakeups that we're hearing rumors about, and things that are going on. It is rumored that Florida is looking to hire a new strength and conditioning coach. Stay tuned to this channel. We will let you know when there's anything official. Did hear a plane touchdown in Tuscaloosa just a couple of days ago. So interesting little piece of information. Nothing official yet. Florida reportedly has hired Gerald Chapman out of Tulane to coach the defensive line. Chapman spent time at LSU prior to being at Tulane. So we'll chat more about him in an upcoming video, but it is nice to have some stability there. It's something that was much needed. However, things got shaken up again today because it appears that Jay Bateman is headed to Texas A&M to be their defensive coordinator, which means Florida has yet another defensive coach opening. So stay tuned here. We'll let you know if we hear of any names that are being mentioned, but there are still coaching staff shakeups happening in Gainesville. So hopefully we'll have some stability there soon, but there's still changes left to be made. All right, guys, I know yesterday wasn't what a lot of us were hoping it would be. I don't think the sky's falling just yet. I do think these players are worth celebrating, and I'm excited to see who we can grab from the transfer portal. I'm hoping this coaching staff is going to move fast and furious, get us some names of guys that can play right away. I appreciate you for tuning in and watching. Thank you so much for being a supporter of the channel. It means absolutely the world to me. And today, more than most days, guys, in all kinds of weather, it's always great to be a Gator.